Volleys of bullets, explosions and killings have become routine rampages. During the last 10 to 15 years, Kashmir, the paradise on earth, has been transformed into an infernal hell because of trans-border terrorism. Innumerable women have been widowed, children become orphaned and houses reduced to ashes. The celestial beauty of the valley lies in a heap of explosions. To acquaint the three most powerful nations of the world, Russia, America and Britain, with India's concern about terrorism in Kashmir, India's Prime Minister, Shri Ataljee set out on a 10-day official tour. Sunday, the 4th November 2001, the Prime Minister arrived at Pulkovo International Airport of St. Petersburg in Russia on the first lap of his tour. At the airport, he was welcomed by India's ambassador to Russia, Shri K. Raghunath, along with the officials and businessmen of both Russia and India. To honor the visiting Prime Minister, a dinner was hosted at the Governor's house. It was attended by members of the Indian delegation also. Monday, 5th November, India's Prime Minister arrived at the Russian Museum to inaugurate an exhibition of the Russian painter Saltykov's paintings of India. A group of children welcomed the Prime Minister with flowers. Russian children sang a beautiful song in Hindi. A pleased Prime Minister thanked the children with folded hands. The Prime Minister then inaugurated the exhibition by lighting a lamp. The Prime Minister reviewed Saltykov's paintings. Later on the same day, the Prime Minister met some Russian intellectuals and scholars. To boost the study of Indian education, culture, science and technology in prominent institutions of Russia, 4 agreements were signed. On this occasion, the Russian translation of a book based on Shri Vajpayee's speeches, statements and observations entitled Bhavishya ke Raste par Bharat was released. From St. Petersburg, the Prime Minister arrived at Moscow. At the airport, he was welcomed by many dignitaries. The Prime Minister inspected a guard of honor. The same evening, the Prime Minister arrived at State Duma. The Chairman of State Duma welcomed him. Then the mutual consultation started. Tuesday, 6 November, the Indian Prime Minister was received by the President of Russia, Mr. Vladimir Putin in the Green Hall of Kremlin. Both the leaders met with a lot of enthusiasm. Then, in a very cordial atmosphere, informal discussions between the two leaders took place. Later, the official talks attended by the two leaders started. The Indian delegation included the External Affairs Minister, Shri Jaswant Singh, and the National Security Advisor, Shri Brajesh Mishra. After the official talks, which lasted for 1.5 hours, 3 agreements were signed. The two leaders also signed the Moscow Declaration on International Terrorism. After signing the declaration, both the leaders made joint statements. Both the countries endorsed the central role of the United Nations in the fight against terrorism. Both of them agreed that action against terrorism should be taken in accordance with the international law and the United Nations Charter. The Moscow State University conferred an honorary doctorate on the Indian Prime Minister. He accepted it gracefully, but in a lighter vein said that this would be his first and last doctorate. Wednesday, 7th November, the Indian Prime Minister addressed a press conference in the morning.
रूस की 3 दिन की यात्रा से
I am fully satisfied by my 3 days visit to Russia. Last year, when President Putin visited Delhi, the Declaration of Strategic Partnership was signed. This is the first meeting after that. During these 3 days, detailed discussions were held on all the subjects. Both India and Russia are of the opinion that an all-out struggle must be launched against terrorism without any reservations.
उसके बाद ये पहली बैठक हो रही है। इन 3 दिनों में सभी विषयों पर विस्तार से चर्चा हुई। भारत और रूस दोनों की ये राय है कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ अब पूरी समग्रता में संघर्ष होना चाहिए। उसमें किसी तरह का भेदभाव नहीं होना चाहिए।
The Indian Prime Minister's official visit to Russia ended on a successful note. Prime Minister Vajpayee left for Washington on the second leg of his tour.